here it is. This is the 1,500 pound Triumph lift that I got through Ridline Stands. Just brought it back yesterday. Had to go pick it up because they don't deliver to a, they won't deliver it unless it's to a business or unless it's to a business. So I had to go pick it up from a freight agency up north. So it's 2,500 pounds. It is roughly, this is a 16-foot trailer. So I'm guessing it's 12 feet long. And hydraulic power units here. And then the rest of it is all frame. So being a 1,500 pound unit, pretty heavy. Heavily built. So the Freightline was kind enough to give me some of these straps. I had two of my own. And he gave me these just to keep it from sliding back and forth. I thought that was really nice. So shout out to Estes Line Haul up in Sweetwater. So let's start cutting all this off. Metal straps, plastic. See what we got here. These parts here are the extensions because this is one of their extended height models. I've got a 17-foot ceiling. Well, where the hoist is going to be located, it's 15 feet. So I have, this will take it right up there. And it's it's the kind of hoist that they're connected at the top. Clear floor, they call it. So these are the extensions that go on top. I haven't found any instructions for assembly yet. Hopefully it's inside one of the boxes. Let me open up the hydraulics pack and see what's in there. Okay, this is just an information that says connected to 220 volt power. Dedicated 30 amp breaker. Pretty big. One, two. Well, that helps. So here's what's inside the small items that were in there. I got the pump, the hydraulic pump, and obviously something plugs in there. That's the end of the power cord. Got to make one up. There's a small cable that I saw a couple of small pulleys in the top there. Without the instructions, I'm not sure what it does. This is the micro switch that will, basically it's a safety. And they don't appear to be associated, so I'm not sure what that little cable does. There's a hydraulic hose. This here it looks like just a guide. When it hits this bar, this is as high as it goes. You shouldn't get your vehicle any higher than when it touches this. It just kind of hangs below the top bar there. There's 12 of these giant anchors that go into the concrete. These are covers. I don't know where they go yet. That does something. Don't know what yet. If your hydraulics fail, these are the safety stops, little ratchets. These go inside the arm so that when it drops, these will catch it and not let it fall. These are locks. Yeah, got little teeth there. These will go with the teeth on the arms over there that they drop in, and it keeps the arms whatever position you want to put them. A couple of hole plugs, plastic. Bunch of stamped shims. These are no particular size, but they're just thin metal shims. There's a lot of them. And so that's to make sure your posts are straight up and down, make up for any imperfections in your concrete. We've got pins to hold the arms on, 4 of those. We've got 4 of these 6-inch risers or spacers. Looks like these are 3-inch spacers and then 2.5-inch spacers. 4 of those, 4 of those, and 4 of those. And a lot of nuts and bolts. Right here is a hole that you can't see probably, but that's one end of a footing. Footing goes down about 1.5 feet, reinforced. I know I wanted a hoist in here at one point when I had the building made, so I had that footing put in. There's one there. The other one is over here. It's 11 feet from there to there. I knew I was going to have a hoist, or at least I was dreaming of a hoist at some point. And yeah, I got a hoist now. So it's not the edge, it's actually the center of this end of the footing, the center of that end of the footing. And yeah, so that's where the hoist is going to go. It's going to place the vehicle at a diagonal. Well, as far as instructions go, none were included with the kit. I had went back online. Redline Stands has a website, and for this lift to Triumph 15,000. So these are all posted online, and they said that's because the lift is made in China. It's one of the cheaper, less expensive ones. The instructions are not included in the box, and so there's some stuff I have to figure out. But it does give a couple of guides how to assemble. It's 142 inches from post to post. It's not too clear if that's on the back side of the post or the back side of the foot, the mounting plate. So I will have to do a little bit more study on that. But what I'm going to do today is between the two holes that I've marked when I originally made the building, I'll just draw a line between them and start from there. And then I'll make my marking for the first post. First post goes up, gets bolted in place, and that's going to be facing the right direction. Everything is based on the first post. Then the second post is put up, and it's made sure it's the right distance away, and they're in alignment. Yeah, so let's start with that. The first post to be put in should be the one with the control, the power pack. That one will go here. So I've got to make a pad, draw out a line here in tape. That's 480 by 500. That's my base plate. So this is 480, this is 500, or 240 from halfway, 250 from halfway. So that means the next job is to pick up the first stand. It's the one with the plate that's on the side there that holds the power pack. And I've got to pick it up with the crane, and then pick it up twice probably, because I got to get it off the trailer level, put it down, and then pick it up near the top so that it wants to lean up, and just make sure it's lined up when it's in place, and then drill my first hole. The instructions say you drill the holes when it's aligned, or drill one hole, align it, drill a second hole, keeps it in place, and then you drill the rest of the holes, and then you put the shims in, and it's got to be straight up and down. And after we get all that done, I can put in the second post. Everything goes off the first post. I'll use that same choker, but I'll place it about here. There's no way to hold it from sliding up other than it's got friction. I know what to do. I can use something to tie it to that hole over there. This isn't picking up the load. This is going to keep this sling from sliding. Well, if I've measured this right, I made a square box there, which is where the other post will go. And the measurements I have to go off of are the back of the base plate on this one to the back of the base plate on that one, 142 inches. Between the posts, the face here, it's 114 inches from this post to where the other post is. And everything that I've measured back and forth seems to line up. It's a critical measurement because you got to have the posts like this, and there's a spreader bar there. It goes across the top, and that's a set distance. So I've got to make sure that that will fit in there when these are certain distance apart and they're vertical. I think I got them. So I'm going to set the other post up now and have them both ready to drill. This one is set. I've got it marked exactly where it's supposed to be. I'll drill the holes and I'll set this one and level it first. And then once I get that really secure, I'm going to drill the holes for that one, and it should be good. There's a measurement that goes between the front post to the front of this post, 114 inches. There's no measurement between the front of here, the front of the carriage, and the front of that carriage, which I think is around 10 inches less. So it'd be 104 roughly. No. Yeah, 104. So the drive-through is 114 inches, but your wheels still have to go between these two, which is 104. Anyways, just something to be aware of. I've got this and a 3/4 inch bit. There we go. The instructions say to go all the way through. You really don't need to go any longer than that though. Well, that went remarkably fast. That was 6 of them in about 15 minutes. I expected to hit rebar, or I don't know, didn't know what to expect. Okay, now I'm just going to line up the other column, and then I can get to squaring these up. Had to move it about 2 inches. I'm not there yet. Okay, done. The next thing to do is to put shims underneath the base plates of those towers. But these are the shims that they provided. They have a real sharp edge here. That is, they're not flat. So I took some time to hammer them all flat, and they should slide in. I've also got my torque wrench ready to go. The instructions for this Triumph lift did not have a torque specification for the bolts, the 3/4 inch bolts that tie that down to the concrete. I watched a few videos on other people that put theirs up. They're all smaller lifts, and with only one exception, all of them had a torque specification for the bolts. I don't know what these are supposed to be. They're all 3/4 inch bolts. They're all, the videos I watched, for up to 140 foot-pounds. One guy didn't, the one exception that didn't have a torque spec, he was going to go to 100 foot-pounds, because the lowest that he said was specified was 40 foot-pounds. Well, I think 100 sounds good. On the side that it's leaning away from, I'm going to go ahead and put the shim in just to make sure. I know there's a pretty big high spot. Either there's a high spot underneath that foot, or the foot itself on the metal is deformed a little bit, and it rocks right in, pretty much in the center of that. So I'm going to make sure that there's the shim underneath all the bolts, and I want to be torquing down on the shims. I don't want to be torquing down on the foot plate and deforming that, because that'll cause the post to go all over the place. So I'll be working on that first. I'll go to the side it's leaning away from, make sure I've got shims under it, and then I'll use a pry bar, and I'll try to pry it straight up and put shims on the other side, and that means I'm torquing down on shims. Okay, it's leaning this way, and it's leaning toward the back. I might want to blow out the dust from underneath these too. There's still concrete dust in there. I think these columns are weighing around 1,000 pounds apiece. With those shims under there now, it won't be a soft foot. Be pressing down hard on those. Before I do that, I still need to put shims underneath the back here. All right, so using my level here, I know that right now, this one's come up a little bit, and that's level at the moment. This one is still leaning toward me.
So what I need to do is just put a little bit of torque on these nuts, just to tighten them down a little, and then get the other side shimmed up. I'm not going to 100 foot-pounds just yet. Yeah. Now I'll get the other side over there. Make sure that those are having some shims under them. And I'll go to the full 100 foot-pounds. Nice and level. I don't think you can see that bubble, but that's nice and level. Quite pleased with that. So now I'll do the other side. Okay, whew, that's done. That's good. Good stuff. I don't know what these extensions weigh. They're 2 feet long, but I'd say they're roughly 50, 60 pounds, maybe more. And the instructions said, put these on before I wreck the columns. There's just no way I could have done that. These columns are, I think, 11 feet 8 inches, top to bottom. These extensions are 2 feet long. That'll bring me just shy of 14 feet. And I don't know that I could have raised, I guess I could have with help. I don't know what I'd have done, how I would have put these up without using the gantry crane, because they just weigh too much. These are 1,000 pounds a piece around. And two guys aren't going to stand these up. These are heavy. And that's going to add another 50, 60 pounds. Anyway, so I have to put these on now that the columns are standing up. The danger of that is you're standing on top of a rickety ladder. Well, that's pretty hard to do because how heavy they are and awkward, and it's just hard to do. Happily, I've got this ladder here, which I've been using for all sorts of things in here. To reach the ceiling, put up the lights. It's a good, stable work platform. And it's rated for the weight. Me and that extension together shouldn't be exceeding the weight of that. These extensions slip on the outside of these columns. And they're just slick, so I have to come up with some way to make sure these extensions don't just slide all the way down. Nothing's going to stop them. So there's some structures inside the extensions that would stop, but that's 2 feet below where they should be. Anyway, I'll use some clamps or something to make a stop. I have to get rid of this gantries in the way. And yeah, see how that goes. I just had a thought. I need to check these to make sure that there's not a right and left side. There's a pulley right here, which holds on to the operator cable for the latches, the safety latches, to disengage them. And these have to line up with a pulley on the back here. Yeah, that should be good. Oh, no. So there's a mirror image. So there's a right and a left side. So I've got them correct. That one goes on that side. This one goes on this side. Just got to get it up there. Why make a 1/2-inch hole if you're going to use a 5/16 bolt? So I robbed my parts bin. And I found a lot of, these are old metric bolts that I brought with me from Australia. And yeah, these will work just fine. I doubt that when I put up the crossbar that it's going to line up perfectly. You'll see in some of the videos they put the crossbar up before they secured the second post. And well, it's too hard to do when it weighs a ton. So if I'm off just a hair down there, it's off by a 1/4 inch up here, and that's either I have to re-drill the holes or, well, that's all I could do is re-drill the holes. But these are going to have some play in them. So I think I'll just not secure these. I will put the crossbar up, see where the holes are, and then position these extensions so that they give a bit of leeway on there. The crossbar, I don't know, probably weighs 70 pounds, 80 pounds, but it's real long. There's really no way for me to carry that up here. So I'm going to have to come up with something, and I think I'll attach it to the bucket of my tractor, make an A-frame off the front, and use it like an extension on a crane. I've enlisted help. Well, it's up. Tractor idea worked. And yeah, for sure, those things did not want to align. But there was enough play in the extensions that I could push it apart and get the bolts in. You'll see that on these 12 mil, those are the bolt heads. And all the other ones are that way too. Except for these two. These two have got the heads on the inside. The reason being, you've got these brackets going all the way down that column. And you look there, you'll see that if I had put the threads sticking out into the way of those brackets, I think it would have obstructed whatever goes through them. I think it's the hydraulic tubing or the wiring, but yeah, I put the threads out. My next mission is over this pair of pulleys and on the other end. Got the cables to go on down there, and also the hydraulic pipe has got to be run. You see this pulley here, and there's one just like it on the other side. You can kind of see it down on the other side. I just got to make sure that this turns easily. It kind of binds up in one spot. And that has a cable that goes over it to the latches. You have a handle on the other side, and when you run that handle, it lifts the latches on both sides. There's another pulley just like this on the other column. But these were not centered before. Now I've got the pulley centered in this gap. It was dragging and it wouldn't have worked too well, and well as this was backwards. The head was on this side. I put the head on this side, and there's one just like it. They hold a cover. But I changed it around, and then I added a little washer there so that it would center that in the gap. And that was on both sides. It was binding up and it wouldn't have worked very smoothly without that. According to the instructions, they want you to put the lift arms on next, but I'd just be tripping over them if I did that. So I am going to put that last, but then the power unit. It says do not use Dextron automatic transmission fluid. You have to use they call out a number here, 10 weight hydraulic oil. 3.5 gallons. But they say to attach the power unit, so I'll do that next. Next step is connect angled end of the hose to the fitting on the lift tower down there. Connect the straight end of the power unit hose to the power unit. There are no straight ends, so that means, ignore the instructions and forge ahead doing what you darn well please. I'll just make sure this fitting is tight. Okay. And it makes sense that this is a curved end. Leave that loose for now until I get that one cleaned. It's pretty dirty down there. Connect the hydraulic hoses within the towers and run the hose through the overhead beam. Verify all hydraulic connections. Well, here's the end of the pipe, the two hydraulic hoses. And what we've got are two females joined by a male connector. So let's make sure all of these are clean. And make sure they're good and tight. Okay, it says here, raise and lock each carriage approximately 28 inches above the ground. Make sure that the safety locks are fully engaged. Well, they haven't even had us put the safety locks in yet. All right, so there are a couple of step 3s, there's a couple of step 4s. Step 8 has to come before step 7. Step 8 is installing these. Actually, they're talking like these are already installed. And yeah, they're not. Anyway, so this has a hole on the bottom. The hole on the bottom accepts this operator rod. And that's got to go on this side. That's right next to the power pack. So pull the pin, and there's a couple of springs that got to come off. Spring has to go down. I think these springs have to go on the outside of them bars. There's no description of this. That's how that's supposed to work. Okay, there's the hole. The hole is offset from this by about 1/8 of an inch. And I'm thinking it has to come out this way so it goes up over the top of this. No, it's got to go underneath. Let's go out underneath that. So let's get that in from the other side first. And then down through here. And I'll tighten up this nut. I'll bring this nut over that way and that nut that way, and that'll keep it trapped. I don't like the way that's bent like that, but I guess that's where they meant it to be. Good. I've been thinking about how to run the wire for the safety switch, which goes onto a crossbar up there. And right now it connects onto this little wire. But it looks like it's supposed to go through a hole way up there into the column and then up. Well, I don't want that wire exposed like that. And I'm thinking what I'll do is I'll drill a hole behind the hydraulic pipe that's here and run it up alongside the hydraulic pipe. And I don't know what's behind there. I don't think there's any slides or anything behind it. But I'll keep that wire and this hydraulic pipe side by side. And that should mean it should be, won't interfere with these glides that are back here. Some big Teflon rubber glides. Okay, I've got both covers on, the latches are on. Now I did all of that so I could raise the arms, like they said, around 28 inches. The locks are engaged at this equal height from the floor. Tighten those nuts until the slack is removed. Once it's removed, alternate from side to side, carriage to carriage, tightening each cable equally. And also so that neither carriage raises off the lock. Tighten until there is approximately 1 inch of deflection on each cable. All right, and then there's a hard to read little note here. Cables that go around the pulley down there and then come back up into the bottom, what they're calling the bottom of the bottom carriage plate. There's a slot. The other end of the cable is supposed to fit into a recess. Well, this is a different design, it doesn't have a recess. But I've checked it, it's all the way over, and they're both the same. All right, now I need to add oil, need to connect electricity. Okay, here's something about figure 18. Step 10. Install cutoff switch. Using the appropriate hardware, fastening the mounting brackets to overhead beam on either tower. Attach the red limit wire to main side switch box. Well, there's none of that because this is just plugs. That's got a plug, and it matches up with the plug on this over here, so I don't have to worry about wiring anything up. I just got to route the wire. Well, I'll mount the switch, and then I'll run the cable down inside the column, and then I have to lower these carriages again so that I can drill a hole and connect it up with the plug over there on the power pack. This limit switch took some figuring out, and I'm still not sure I got it right. The instructions were for a different kind of bar, and so I had to figure this one out. Anyways, I think this is the way it's supposed to work. This pivots. I couldn't figure out why that bar was so long. The instructions called out something that pulled out from a switch and caused it to stop. This one here pivots. Anyways, that bar is long because it kind of rests like this, and then when it moves, it goes up, shuts off. Right now, that switch, let me connect it up. It's a short circuit between the contacts. It's supposed to move an inch and shut off. You hear the beeping stops. That's about an inch. So this would be a fail-safe switch. If the switch was out of the circuit, the system won't work. So power lead, instead of doing a join here, I just ran this new power cable straight into there's a contactor inside. Just redid the wiring, ran it straight in. That's the safety switch. I'm going to do just a test at the moment. So these aren't secured. If I ran it too far, that would probably cut. So I'm just going to move it a little bit, make sure it works. Anyway, they all go out the top. Power cable goes along that beam behind these shelves, comes down the column there, and gets plugged into the wall. So let's see now if this works. I've got oil in it. Works. Comes up. They're both coming up. All right, at this point the instructions say I need to run it up and down 10 times. So I'm going to secure the wires, and I'll bring you back when that's done. Why would it do that? What's that noise? Is that out of oil? That's exactly what's happening. So, and I think I'm going to have to adjust that cable over there because it's loose. Oh. Well, we've got a problem. The cable coming from underneath the pulley and going over to the top of that far carriage had jumped the track up there. I don't know when that happened. So it had jumped the track, it got between the pulley and what the pulley's attached to, and it just jammed up. So I think it's free now. Let's try it again. Piece of wood should make a mark. Doesn't have to go all the way to the bottom. I just need to see how far down it is from the top. Oh, we got lots of room in there yet. And the dipstick, there actually is a dipstick. It's about 3 inches long. So I'll just get another 2 gallons. And we'll try again. I've gone to town and I've got oil. Another 2 gallons. But because it was coming down, the carriages were coming down so slowly, I thought I'd put these arms on to help it come down and cycle. You're supposed to cycle these 10 times. That worked really amazing. Who'd have thunk? So I'll put these arms on. Where'd I put the pins? And then cycle it again. Okay, try again.
sure the cables haven't jumped off. They look okay. Nothing seems to be grabbing as near as I can tell. I just want to go up to the top there and make sure that the hoses and the wires are still clear of the carriage. Oh, the other thing I need to test is make sure that switch works up there. Yeah, lots of room. Okay. Whoop, high as she goes. So that is, what stops it, I wonder? Oh, hydraulic cylinder. That's as high as it goes. Okay, now we go down. This one's down first. I have to grease the insides of the rails yet. Don't like doing that because there's so much. Oh, it's on the catches. Because it's just going to get dust in there and grind away. Whoop. Okay, it works. Some of these had well, I saw on some YouTube that these had an adjustment. You could adjust the pin, but these line up without any of that. They lock in okay. Hold on to your butts. Okay, I've moved it forward now about 2 feet. The motor, I would think, would off balance what's on the back here, but it doesn't seem to have yet. Okay, we're on the latches now. It works. I'm so pleased. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.